Comics Assemble.
What's a man thing?
Wait, Batman has a pet cow?
Yeah, but why is he called the Silver Surfer?
Who's Steve Ditko?
So what is the Joker's origin story?
Spawn? These are the kinds of questions we answer on our podcast.
Stay tuned.
Welcome to this episode of Comics Assemble. I'm your super host, Max Edwards, and this is my sidekick,
Comics expert Jonah Addis.
Well, I think it's my turn to reach into the comic box and see which super being we'll be talking about today. Well, Jonah, it looks like Ben Reilly, aka the Scarlet Spider, is our subject matter for today. One of my personal favorites, actually. The spare spider that said, I know I'm supposed to be someone else, but I'm also myself. That signature stolen look. Because actually, that's where his outfit comes. Did you know that, Jonah?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah, it's some of the old wrestling gear that he wore whenever he was trying on that Spider-Man name.
Oh, that's really cool.
It is.
And actually, the blue hoodie look that he is so well known for was a unanimous approval from the original design team as well.
It's just that good. Everyone knew it was that good.
I mean, it's a timeless classic for sure.
Well, speaking of the facts and Scarlet Spider having that real kind of ring to it, what are some interesting facts? I mean, I know some good ones, but I feel like you got a couple hidden there.
Yeah, so of course, his origin story, he was a clone of Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man, cloned by the Jackal. His first appearance was in Amazing Spider-Man number 149 in October of 1975. So kind of like I said last episode, 70s were a good time for superheroes.
Oh, absolutely. Wasn't he the other Spider-Man in that two Spider-Men pointing at each other meme?
I don't know. I haven't watched that cartoon, so I really can't say for sure.
I'll have to check on that later.
Yes, for sure. So he originally debuted in the 70s,
right?
But he kind of supposedly died off shortly after his first appearance, and kind of made a resurgence in the 90s. And so Spider-Man, I think, had 4 or 5 titles at the time. There were Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Spider-Man Unlimited, regular old just Spider-Man, and Spectacular Spider-Man. And when Ben Reilly had his resurgence in the 90s, they were replaced with Scarlet Spider. So you had the Amazing Scarlet Spider, Web of Scarlet Spider, Scarlet Spider, Scarlet Spider Unlimited, and the Spectacular Scarlet Spider.
Wow. That is definitely some stolen valor right there.
Yeah, it's a mouthful too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, I mean, this is just such a great character, and like I've been saying this whole time, one I love to death. But how did he get started? I mean, I know that he stole all the names, but why did Marvel have him steal all the names?
So, funnily enough, and I misspoke last episode, it was Jerry Conway who was one of the most famous writers for Man-Thing, but he was also the sole creator of Ben Reilly, coincidentally.
Really?
Yes.
What a perfect lineup there.
I know, right? He was fascinated with some of Stan Lee's older titles, especially about like clones and stuff like that. And so he came up with the line, something like, if I kill myself, will I also die? Like kind of from Peter Parker's perspective.
That actually, now that I'm hearing that actually sounds kind of cool. Like it sounds like some emo, like edgy band lyrics,
Oh yeah. So he kind of took it and ran with it, and that's what kind of created Ben Reilly as a character.
Wow. Sounds like quite a rough history, but definitely an interesting one, both on and off page. Now, I'm pretty familiar with what he's done, but Jonah, why don't you tell our listener what is his day-to-day like,
So he's always kind of struggled with morality, especially with the fact that he has to accept his identity as this clone of somebody else.
Right.
He's also been considered somewhat of an anti-hero, but mostly a good guy for his duration of existence.
Like a chaotic good, if you will.
Yes, for sure. Leaning into neutral sometimes, but definitely chaotic no matter what he is.
There you go.
He's actually been known to use guns from time to time to deal non-lethal injuries to criminals and thugs that he's fighting.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I was actually, when I was doing my research, that kind of like stuck out to me. I was like, I didn't know that. That was very interesting.
He shoots people, but not to kill.
Yes.
Sets his phasers to stun.
Unlike Thomas Wayne as Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Another episode on that.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So I actually wanted to talk about some of his more recent antics in comic books, specifically with his duration as Chasm.
Really?
Yeah, so a little bit of backstory. He started working with a group called the Beyond Corporation. They manipulated him into believing that he was something that he wasn't. And they were actually secretly kind of erasing his memories.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is after he's died over 24 times in his duration as a character.
Okay, so he's already not sure what's going on, and then these other guys show up, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's not what happened. And he's like, sure, I guess.
Yes, and so actually, in order to convince him to stay with them, because this was during like a trial period,
Right.
they actually arranged for the release of his longtime love interest, Elizabeth Turn. And so he was like, okay, I'm sold. I'll join the Beyond Corporation. And it was revealed to him by Dr. Octopus that he was being manipulated and had his memories altered. But then in a final fight with them, he was exposed to some chemicals that were reality shifting.
Oh,
and
no.
so it made his problem worse with his amnesia to the point that he wasn't even able to perceive faces of people he used to know.
What?
They just seemed like dark spaces on top of, necks and shoulders.
Right.
And so that's when he decided he took up the name Chasm, because he had this chasm in his mind of the memories he had lost.
What are they doing to my boy?
I kind of thought you might have that reaction. It was an interesting turn for Ben Reilly, one that I didn't see coming for sure, but definitely something drastic enough that it will stay in the comics for a couple years at least.
Oh, it hurts, but I feel like there's definitely some good work that they can do here, and definitely a redemption arc.
Yes, Ben Reilly's very good at those.
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking of redemption arcs, another character that is certainly not unfamiliar to them is X-23, who we will be talking about next time.
Wow, that'll make for a feisty episode.
Thank you all so much for joining us. If you enjoyed our podcast, please give us a good rating and share it with your friends or anyone you think might be interested. Once again, this has been Comics Assemble.